Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and this is the Samsung Galaxy Note 10 Plus. And this is a dummy unit or a model, as I stated in the title of the video, but it's not out yet. It should be announced next week or so, and this is normally sent to case manufacturers so they get a head start. And I have one here. This is from I-Blason, and they have a bunch of really nice cases they've sent along. We'll talk more about those toward the end of the video, but be sure to check them out, and thanks again for sending this along. Now, this isn't functioning or anything like that, but it gives us an idea of what it's like to hold, what the dimensions are, what the camera is like, and what the screen size should be. So let's talk about the outside of it. I'll compare it to the size of the S10 and in those models as well, and let's take a look. So on the back, obviously, there are 3 cameras, and those cameras are rumored to be 12 megapixel telephoto cameras, a 12 megapixel wide angle, and a 16 megapixel ultra wide. So that'll be really nice, along with a flash and a time of flight sensor for better depth sensing. So that should be really interesting, along with some AR features with that time of flight sensor as well. Now, aside from the camera on the back, there's not really anything else, although I would expect a wireless charging coil underneath the back cover. If we take a look at the bottom, you'll notice that something is absent, and this time around it looks like they've removed the headphone jack for good. And that's pretty much been confirmed at this point. But you'll see we do have a microphone, a USB-C jack here, as well as a speaker, and then our spot for our S Pen. So pretty familiar at this point. On the top, we only have a SIM card tray, and we don't know if there's actually expandable storage in this version either. It's looking like there may not be. And then we have a couple other microphones, and then an antenna line here, if you can see that. Along the outside edge, on one side, there's nothing at all. And then on the other side, we have the typical volume and power sleep wake button. So that's really nice, pretty expected at this point. And then on the front, this is where it's a little bit more interesting, at least on this dummy unit. The front-facing camera is under the glass on this one, so there's no cutouts or anything. That doesn't mean there won't be a couple cameras across the front, but at this point, that's what the dummy unit looks like. And then, of course, we have a speaker at the top, along with that one I showed you earlier at the bottom. Now, as far as the display is concerned, we expect a 6.8-inch AMOLED QHD display, and Samsung makes some of, if not the best displays on the market, so I would expect this to be no exception. And then internally, we expect a Snapdragon 855 Plus, up to 12 gigabytes of RAM, and 256 gigabytes of internal storage to start, along with a 4300 milliamp hour battery. So that's a pretty good size and should hopefully get the phone through the day. Of course, I would expect it to have fast charging as well. Now, if we compare it size-wise to the current lineup, here's the S10 Plus. This is my working phone that I use sometimes. And you'll see, let me put it next to each other, you'll see it is a little bit bigger from top to bottom, which we would expect. It is a Note, and just a little bit wider. So not much bigger. If we bring in the S10, if you have one of those, just for reference, they kind of just tear down with the S10e here. So you'll see they're very similar. They all kind of step up from a small phone to a much, much larger phone. And for me, the Note 10 feels great in the hand. I have very large hands, as you can see. When I hold the S10 Plus, it actually doesn't look that huge in my hand. So it gives you an idea. I think this would be a great phone just because it's so big and easy to hold for me anyway. Now, as far as the price is concerned, this is going to be a very expensive phone. You can expect upwards of $1,500 with a terabyte of storage, just like they did previously. So expect somewhere in that price range, probably a little bit more. And then, of course, that Galaxy Fold that we haven't seen should come out a little bit later and be even more expensive. Now, like I mentioned, I-Blason sent me a bunch of cases, and they have everything from designer cases to super protective cases that actually have stands built in. So the cases are really nice, pretty high quality, and not that expensive. And as you can see here, here's 4 of them, the 4 different styles. You'll see here, they're really nice, and I tend to prefer really thin cases, and I don't normally like cases on my phones, but with a Note or an S10, sometimes it's necessary just because they're so slippery with that tapered edge. So they feel really good in the hand. They have a lot of different cases to choose from, and if you want more protective and transparent so you can see the phone, you've got that, or super protective with a built-in stand. They'll all work with wireless chargers as well. And like I said, they were able to get one early so they could get their hands on them and make the cases ahead of time. So none of them have cutouts for a headphone jack, which that's probably the most disappointing thing to me. I'm one of the few people that prefers a headphone jack for quality, although some of the newer Bluetooth standards like aptX and things are more than acceptable for most people, including myself. But let me know what you think about the Note 10 Plus in the comments below and how it compares to the iPhone 11 Plus. This is also a dummy unit. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Which one do you prefer? I know a lot of people don't really like the square camera bump on the back of the iPhone 11. The Note 10 Plus looks pretty nice, and I'm eager to take a look at one and try and use one for a little while. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And even though I didn't show you a wallpaper in this video, I'll link one in the description for you that's new as well. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe and hit that notification bell if you'd like to see more videos like this as soon as they're released. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.